Thank you, Lisa, for that wonderful introduction. Welcome to Parameter Actions webinar. Today, we are going to discuss about parameter actions and some of its use cases. So today's agenda is first, I will introduce what's a parameter and one of its use case. That will be a brief introduction, and then moving on from there, we will go to parameter actions and then some of its use cases. Before moving to parameter actions, we can see what's a parameter. A parameter is any value passed to a program in order to customize the program for a particular purpose. A parameter could be anything, a string of text, a range of values, or the amount, just to name a few. Parameters allow you to come up with scenarios or options that are not available in your data and create these values to put into your visualization. After creation, the end user can control the input to see the results of the parameter effect. The common use cases of parameters are what-if analysis and user input analysis. Let me show a simple demo on parameter. Let's get opening the Tableau and connect it to the Superstore dataset. I hope you all are familiar with the Superstore dataset. This is a dataset that comes along with Tableau. It's an inbuilt saved data source in Tableau. So we are going to create a chart that shows sales value. We need the user to create the dimension. For example, if the user has selected the option category, then the chart should show sales by category. If the user selects subcategory, then the chart should show sales by subcategory. For this, I am going to create a parameter first. Create parameter. I'm going to create an integer parameter. Let's name this parameter as select a dimension. And the first value is 1, and then it should display as subcategory. And the second value is 2. It should display as category. And the third value is 3. And it should display as region. Click OK. I'm going to create a calculated field in order to use this parameter. Let me name this calculated field as select a dimension calc field. So if select a dimension is equal to 1, then it should show subcategories. Else if select a dimension equals 2, then it should show category. Else region. And click apply. OK. Move this dimension to column and sum of sales. Show parameter control. So first I have selected subcategory. So that's why it's showing all the subcategories. Let me make this as an entire view. And if I have selected category, then it will show sales across different categories. If I select region, then it will show sales across different regions. So this is one of the use case where user can analyze the sales based on different dimension. Now, let's move to parameter actions. Parameter action is creating an action using a parameter. Use parameter actions to let your audience change a parameter value through direct interactions with a whiz, such as clicking or selecting a mark, etc. So we can use parameter actions with reference lines, calculations, filters, and SQL queries, and to customize how to display data in your visualization. So these are some of the use cases of parameter actions. So we will discuss first highlight, labeling, and change size using parameter actions. Let's see an example of labeling change size and highlighting using parameter actions. In order to do that, I'm going to create a new sheet. I want to create a standard lollipop chart. For this, I'm placing my subcategories into rows and some of sales columns. I want to dual axis this. Dual axis. I want my first axis as a bar chart. And let me reduce the size and let me increase the size of the circle. So yes, now I have created a lollipop chart. Let me synchronize the axis, and I don't want to save this one, so I'm hiding it. Yeah. So I have created a lollipop chart, and I'm changing the color of the bar to dark gray. Now, in order to create highlighting and sizing and also labeling the sales, I'm going to create a couple of calculation fields. Before that, I'm going to create a parameter of subcategory. Just right click it, subcategory, and create parameter. Yes, I have created a parameter for subcategory. Click OK. A subcategory parameter has been created. Now, I'm going to create a calculated field in order to highlight using parameter actions. So I'm naming it as highlight the circle, and if subcategory parameter is equal to subcategory, then it should be in red color, else the thing can be in gray color. And click OK. I have created one calculated field. Now I'm going to create another calculated for size. So size the circle. If the subcategory parameter is equal to the category, then it should be a bigger size 5, otherwise it should be a lesser size like 1. And click OK. I have created a circle, size of the circle. Next, I'm going to create another field to label the sales using the same, then should sales. So if the subcategory parameter is equal to subcategory, then it should label the sales value, and that's it. Click OK. I'm going to make this label, and then we want to show this control. Maybe then highlight. In order to highlight the circle, I'm going to create this highlighting in color and edit colors. Red should be red and gray should be gray. Click OK, and then I'm going to click the size. I want to change the size of this circle also, so I'm keeping the size here. I want to format it. The label should be in the center. And make it bigger circle. That's it. And I'm going to create an action. I'm going to create a parameter action. By hovering over, let me change the name to highlight the bubble, and the parameter should be subcategory parameter and field is category. Click OK. Click OK. So if I hover over it, it will highlight the bubble, it will label the sale value, and also it will change the color. So this is This is the first use case of parameter actions: highlight, labeling, and change size. The next use case of parameter action is change shape and size for related dimension. To do this, I'm going to open Tableau. I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm using the same Superstore dataset. I'm going to create a scatter plot. In order to do that, I'm placing sum of profit in columns and sum of sales in rows, and create and put order ID in detail and subcategory also in detail. So each of this circle shows a order. So now I'm going to, what I need is, when I'm hovering over a single circle, then it should show all the orders that happened under the same subcategory. For example, here the subcategory is copier. So when I hover over one circle, then it should highlight all the orders that happened under the subcategory copiers. In order to do that, I can use the same parameter, subcategory parameter, and I can use the same highlight the circle. So I'm keeping that highlight the circle into color, and I'm creating an action. I'm going to create a parameter action, highlight same subcategory. I'm naming it like that, and whenever I hover, I need to change the subcategory parameter, and subcategory, click OK, click OK. So when I hover over one circle, so we can see that this circle is blenders, so the subcategory is binders, and we can see all the orders that happened under this subcategory binders. So when I hover over the subcategory machine, we can see all the orders that happened under the subcategory machine. So this is another use case of parameter action. Then the third use case of parameter action, which is swap sheets using button, which I found personally as the most useful case in parameter actions. Let's go through that. A chart swap can be done using 2 or more sheets and a parameter. So now I'm going to create 2 sheets. Let the first sheet be an area chart. Let me name it as an area chart. And to create an area chart, I'm going to place the order date, month continuous in columns, and sales by rows. And let me make it as an area chart. So I have created an area chart. Next, I'm going to create a scatter plot. Let me name this sheet as a scatter plot. As we did previously, I'm going to place profit in columns and sales in rows, and keeping all the orders in details. So each of these dots represent an order. Next time, I need to create a button. In order to create a button, I'm going to create an Excel sheet. So this Excel sheet has 3 columns. The first column is type, the second column is X, and the third column is Y. And the type is the type of chart. So we have 2 charts. One is an area chart and the other is a scatter plot. Let me name as scatter plot and area chart. And my X and Y represents the planes where I need to place this button. So let X be 1 and 2 and Y be 1 and 1. And I'm going to save this in documents. I'm going to save it as a button data. Let's save and I need to add this data in from my documents, button data, click open. Yes, my button data is here. I'm going to use the button data. For this, I'm keeping X in columns and Y in my here and my type to shape. So I have two different shape here. Let me make this area chart and scatter plot. Let area chart be like this and scatter plot be like this. I have already saved a custom shape of the and scatter plot. I don't need to see the axis, so I'm hiding it. I'm keeping this images a bit bigger. Now I'm going to create a parameter of this type. I'm creating a parameter. Yes, I have created type parameter. I'm clicking OK. So this sheet is buttons. Let me create a calculated field here in order to filter. So when this type of parameter is an area chart, then it should show this chart, otherwise it shouldn't show. So that's a filter doing. So filter, yes, if it's an area chart, then it should show this area chart. But if it's an area chart, then it shouldn't show the scatter plot. Okay. And I'm going to create a dashboard, placing my vertical container here. And this is a buttons I have created. Adding a buttons here and vertical container in the town. I'm placing the two area chart and also scatter plot to here. Sorry, scatter plot also. And I'm creating an action, a parameter action. So if I click on buttons, then this is the one that I have. And so this is swapping charts. Click OK. Click OK. So I have created a parameter action to swap between two charts. So if I click area chart, it should show area chart. If I click scatter plot, it will show scatter plot. So that's how we can swap between two charts. So the next use case of parameter action is sliding reference line and highlight the past date. So we are going to create a moving reference line where we can hover over it. It will reveal the sales value at the top of the reference line. Also, it highlights the past date data. In order to show that, let me open the Tableau workbook, and I'm using the same Superstore dataset here. In order to create an area chart, I am moving order date, continuous month, click OK, and sales in rows. And I'm making this as an area chart. So we can see sales over time. And now I'm going to create a parameter using order date. Create parameter. Yes, I have created a parameter of order date. Now I need to, in order to highlight, I am creating a calculated field. Let me name it as highlight reference line, and if this order date is less than or equal to the parameter order date, then it should highlight it as red, else it should highlight it as gray. And That's it. That's how we can highlight. And I'm keeping this in color. And in order to label the sales, I am taking this top value, that's the highest value of sales, and making it as an average of 120,000. So I have created here a area chart. I am going to make it as a line. So I have a line over here. I don't need this color, and I'm making this opacity to 0. So this axis is just to label the sales, and I am hiding it. Now I am going to create a reference line using order parameter, and I need to see this value here, and it would be a dotted line. Click OK. Now I need to create an action, a parameter action. By hovering over order date parameter, this should be changed. Let me name this as highlight reference line. Click OK. Click OK. And by moving here, we can see the past date has been highlighted. Now I need to label the sales also in the top. In order to do that, let me create another calculated field. So if this order date is equal to the parameter, then it should show the sales. That's all. So label sales reference line, click OK, and I haven't named it. Label sales reference line, and click OK. Hello. Okay. Let this be label. Yes, it's showing at the top, it's showing the value of sales at that month. So by moving here, we can see the sales at the top, and also it's highlighting the past date. So that's the third. So that was the fourth use case of parameter action, sliding reference line and highlighting past dates. The last use case that I would like to share it with you is drilling down. So let me create a new chart to show the drill down technique using parameter action. Let me place the category to rows and sales to column, and make it as an entire view. So we can see the category, the sales of under different categories. So when I'm clicking here in a category, then it should drill down to subcategory. In order to do that, I'm going to create a parameter for category, create a parameter. So category parameter, click OK. I'm going to create a calculated field. And if category is equal to category parameter, then it should show the subcategory. And it should be in color. Now I want to create an action for this. Create a parameter action. So let it be drill down. If I am selecting anything, then category parameter, category. Okay. So when I'm clicking office supplies, then it will drill down to the categories of office supplies like art, binders, fasteners, and if it's technology, it will drill down to accessories, copiers, machines, fonts, etc. So that's how we can use the parameter actions for drilling down. And there are a lot of use cases for parameter actions. I have shown a couple of them, and you can find some of them in the following blogs. I found this is very useful, and now it's time for Q&A. Thanks for listening.